HarperCollins presents Ultra-Processed Women, written and read by Milli Hill. This audiobook has an accompanying PDF with additional resources and end notes. If you are unable to access this, please contact your audiobook provider or email HarperCollins at inquiries@harpercollins.co.uk. This book is dedicated to my own personal celestial trinity: Gilbert Hill, 1926 to 2014, Burt Bach, 1922 to 2000, and Paul Barrett, 1944 to 2022. I like to think of them reunited and raising a glass to this book in one of the afterlife's many perfect pubs. Introduction. But what about women? When I first began work on this book, I thought it was going to be about food. Oh, and women, of course. I nearly forgot. It's funny how often that happens, isn't it? We forget women. So yes, food and women. This was to be my focus. I'd noticed some really interesting conversations beginning about what we, as 21st century humans, are eating and what this might be doing to our bodies. I'd also noticed that such discussions were almost always generalised in terms of the possible negative impact on people's health. Male people are different in a variety of ways from female people, but this simple fact is still repeatedly overlooked, and worse still, male people can be treated as the default or prototype human. So I found myself listening with interest to the many discussions about ultra-processed food, UPF, and wondering to myself, but what about women? But what about women? If ever there was a question that slips out of the collective consciousness far too readily, it's that one. If you are in a position of power or influence, consider jotting it at the top of your notebook page, or setting it as your screensaver, or perhaps getting it as a tattoo. It's not asked nearly as often as it should be, and as the conversation buzzed about the hot topic of UPF, it seemed to be missing yet again. But what about women? As a writer on women's health, and also as a busy mum of three who spends a great deal of time preoccupied with the thorny issue of what's for dinner, I decided to try to answer it myself. Setting out to investigate, much of my initial focus was on the female body and the possible impact of our modern, ultra-processed diet on our physical health. In telling people about this book, I've discovered that this is often their assumption about the subject matter too. I'm writing a book about ultra-processed food and the impact on women, I say. Oh, like menopause and stuff, they reply. And yes, it's true that some of this book explores the possible detrimental impact of a diet high in UPF on women's reproductive health, menstrual cycles, gynecological health issues, fertility, pregnancy, and yes, menopause. Much of what I have found in the existing research has shocked me and reinforced, yet again, just how readily we accept the idea of the female body as naturally faulty and in need of medicalisation. These assumptions often blinding us to other potential and often less invasive courses of action. Obviously, we don't want to turn our backs on modern medicine's often very helpful input, but it would be great if we could shift towards a more holistic approach. Imagine what might change if the question, "What do you eat?" was top of the list for any woman struggling with some aspect of her reproductive health. How many women suffering painful or heavy periods, for example, might be interested to know that reducing the amount of UPF they consume and eating fruits and pulses instead might be a game changer? How many pregnant women, fastidiously avoiding pâté or blue cheese, might wonder why nobody told them that a diet high in UPF could potentially double their risk of miscarriage, or that fizzy drinks had been associated with a raft of pregnancy issues from preterm birth to health problems like asthma in their baby. Why isn't every single couple struggling with the agony of infertility being told
Sample complete. Ready to continue?